Imagine this. You're a European soldier in 1519, landing in a brand new world you've never seen before. You're tired, sweaty, a little scared. And then, the local people who look at you with curiosity hand you a cup. You take a sip, and it tastes absolutely horrible. Bitter, spicy, thick, almost undrinkable. You think, is this a joke? Are they messing with me? Well, that cup was no joke. It was chocolate. And that moment changed history forever. Long before Europeans ever laid eyes on it, chocolate was sacred to the Aztecs. But here's the twist: it wasn't the sweet dessert we know today. Forget candy bars, chocolate cake, or hot cocoa with marshmallows. The Aztec version was a very different drink. They roasted cacao beans, ground them up, mixed them with water, chili peppers, and sometimes cornmeal. No sugar, no milk, just raw, spicy bitterness. And the Aztecs loved it. To them, cacao was more valuable than gold. They even used cacao beans as money. Want to buy a turkey? Pay with cacao. Want to pay taxes? Cacao. So when the Spanish arrived in 1519, led by Hernan Cortés, the Aztecs shared one of their most prized drinks, xocolatl. Now imagine the Spanish soldiers. They're used to wine, beer, maybe some Mediterranean spices. They take a sip of this thick, bitter chocolate brew, and their faces probably twisted like someone just tricked them with spoiled medicine. Some records even suggest they thought the Aztecs were pulling a prank. Like, really? This is your big treasure, this bitter pepper water. But to the Aztecs, this was no prank. This was power in a cup. It was believed to give energy, strength, and even a boost of, let's say, romance. The Spanish didn't get it at first. But Cortés, he saw potential. Here's where it gets interesting. Cortés brought cacao beans back to Spain in the 1520s. At first, people there had the same reaction: who would drink this? But then someone had a genius idea. What if we had sugar? Maybe a little cinnamon, maybe some vanilla. Boom! Suddenly, this bitter Aztec drink became smooth, sweet, and addictive. What once tasted like peppery medicine became Europe's new luxury obsession. By the 1600s, chocolate was spreading across Europe like wildfire. But here's the catch: it was only for the wealthy. This was liquid gold. Royals and aristocrats were sipping it in their fancy salons, bragging about this exotic drink. From the New World, over time, as sugar production increased and trade expanded, chocolate became more accessible. Recipes evolved. It wasn't just a spicy drink anymore. It was cakes, candies, and eventually, the chocolate bars we know today. And all of it traces back to that one awkward sip in 1519. Of course, we can't talk about chocolate's rise without remembering the darker side. The booming demand for cacao and sugar fueled colonization, slavery, and exploitation. Millions of lives were impacted, often brutally, so Europe could enjoy its sweet new obsession. So while chocolate became a symbol of pleasure and luxury, it also carried with it a history of struggle and pain. That first bitter sip in 1519 was more than just a funny cultural misunderstanding. It was the start of a global transformation. The Aztecs saw chocolate as sacred. The Spanish turned it into an empire-building commodity. And today, we can't imagine life without it, whether it's hot cocoa on a cold night or a chocolate bar after a rough day. But next time you unwrap a piece of chocolate, remember this: it all started with a drink so bitter, the first Europeans thought it was a joke. History, it turns out, really can be bittersweet. So, what do you think? If you were handed that original Aztec chocolate, would you sip it or spit it out?